Hello again everybody and welcome back to Broken Wing and the A-10C Warthog. This is just going to be a short video to close out the series. I left that last video in sort of an awkward place, and if you were paying attention during the mission, you saw that the lead vehicle in the column on our side that was supposed to be going up to the area around the helo was taken out, and that caused a bottleneck that didn't allow the rest of the forces to get far enough into the mission to trigger all the actions that were supposed to happen subsequently. So that's what happened, and what I did this morning was I sat down. I actually flew through it 3 more times, and it was really one of the most frustrating experiences I've had in DCS to date. And I'll show some of the external views at least as I'm going through this, just so it wasn't a complete waste of a morning. I tried it twice, taking some advice from some commenters and even from the mission designers who said to go ahead and get airborne, that the MiG-23s would not engage. I tried it a couple of times with different timings, once getting airborne immediately, once waiting, and then getting airborne. Both times I was engaged by the MiG-23s. I don't think that was the intent behind the mission design, or at least I hope it wasn't, or otherwise it's not a mission that I would ever consider flying. So my original decision in the video that you saw to stay on the runway was still the correct one for, well, many reasons, a lot of which I explained in the video, a lot of which I explained in subsequent comments, and, well, should be apparent considering the effect of getting airborne at any point before the F-15s can engage those MiG-23s. And the third attempt that I made, I stayed on the runway again, got airborne, got out to the target, and again that lead vehicle was taken out. So it's very, very apparent that the intent behind the design was to get airborne, get up into the area, and start taking out vehicles, but you just can't do that and survive, or you can't do that and not get engaged by and have to engage the MiG-23s. And if you still don't believe me, try it yourself, and I think you'll see exactly what I mean. And just to add insult to injury, on that mission, the MiG-23s took out the F-15s, and then they came back into the area and engaged me again. So I just couldn't win. There's no way to fly this in the style that I fly missions and come away with anything even resembling success. Although I am very happy, however, with the way that I flew it on the first attempt. I don't see how I could have done any better. I made some good visual pickups on some SAM launches, made about as effective AGM-65 runs as I think I'm capable of making, so I'm not displeased with the way that I flew the mission. It just didn't play itself out to its logical conclusion on any of the attempts, the first one or subsequent that I made. And I want to be very clear that this is by no means the mission designer's fault. I looked at the mission afterwards, and, you know, having looked at the way that it's set up in the mission editor, I just won't go back and fly it again. I don't like knowing what's coming up, but what I think caused the problems here was, you know, possibly some changes to the way the AI works. I have no doubt that during the playtesting for this mission, before it was put out, that it had to have played out quite differently from the way that it plays out right now. And that's something that you see, you know, during the Cold War Warrior campaign that I'm doing right now as well, especially going back and watching the Tacview replays and seeing the way that things play out. It's very, very apparent that things don't play out exactly as the designer intended. In a lot of those cases, probably most of those cases, the mission still works, but you can tell that it's just not working as designed. And, you know, the reason I flew the Broken Wing mission in the first place, if you watched whatever video it was where I explained it, it was because the single mission, I can't remember, I think it was the Midnight Train to Georgia single mission in the A-10, wasn't working for me either. And, you know, hopefully this is something that gets fixed in DCS World 2. I say that knowing that it's not, and I perfectly understand why. To have old missions keep up with changes to the game engine requires that somebody, many people, go back and fly the mission from different points of view with different play styles and verify that everything works. And that's not to say that it hasn't happened in some way, or maybe even exactly as I describe it. I know it's very, very hard to test software, but then again, maybe I just got unlucky over the last few missions I've flown. Who knows? And don't think that I'm including user-created content like this mission in that broad generalization I just made. Somebody who, in their spare time, provides a service for free has no responsibility whatsoever to anybody on that content. In fact, I thought this was a really, really great mission, and it's possible I just got unlucky. It's possible there were some issues with the DCS. I don't know, and in either case, I got my money's worth out of it. That part of it that I showed in the previous 3 videos was a lot of fun to fly, and that's all that I ever asked. So having said all that, I still recommend this as a good mission to go and try for yourself. I didn't even touch on the different flights that you can fly in this mission or the multiplayer aspect of the mission that you can do if you're into that sort of thing. But in either case, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you enjoyed the mission and the way it was presented, and I'll be back soon with something new in the A10. So thanks again for watching, everybody, and I will see you next time.